Hello, trading is closed on January 28th, 2021. We always start with our disclaimer. So my call for tomorrow, January 29th, 2021. I might be completely wrong, so trade at your own risk. My email is mejt.trades@gmail.com. Well, yesterday was a complete collapse, and I thought we had a good chance for higher prices, which is what we got. Here's what we said. Longer term, odds good to make the top, but as far as tomorrow, which is today, decent chance that they rally. Come back to this pretty soon. We had a target, 3790.66. The rule we have is if we don't gap down smartly, that's likely to print. It did. You can see that's a support resistance area. Right now it's acting as support. Have a new target for tomorrow, much higher, 3821.94. Now once again, MeJT likes to leave failed targets, major changes in trend, but if we don't gap down, I'm going to make that my call. Early on, we got an ultimate buy signal. We really got enough. We don't have to get more. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we did. And MeJT says this drop here is not the real thing and gives us a higher target. We have strong support at today's late low, not the early one. That's going to fill it sometime. We have Fibonacci support from this high to this low. We have the old the recent FOMC price. We have yesterday's MeJT target. They're all accumulating right at the same price. So we have a wall of selling into the close. A wall right at 2 but not through support with a much higher MeJT target. It's a perfect setup for gapping over this high. Just remember, if it fails, which is possible, probably going to gap under this low. And that makes it pretty hard to risk any money on it unless you buy a straddle, which I'm not recommending one way or the other. It is negative that we gapped up, hit higher highs, closed under all the highs. But so far, this is just a pullback to support. And with a drop to but not through support, there's a good chance of overtaking this in spite of the fact that the longer term picture remains bleak. When we dropped through this yesterday, we said the pattern, when you break a uptrending trend line in a straight line, it tends to recover to the trend line. We recovered right to the trend line and stopped. So that target was hit. And if we do drop tomorrow, you certainly could explain it and ignore everything I said a minute or two ago. Signals are mixed. We're going to use the mixed signals rule. Tomorrow's pattern has really high, doesn't mean you won't gap down. It's negative, we gapped up, hit higher highs, closed under all of them. Unless we gap and promptly overtake the high a day, this argues for lower prices. But it's positive, today's normally bearish pattern closed up. Unless we gap and undercut the low a day, it argues for higher prices. Plus we have a wall into strong support. The volatility index gave a Bollinger Band reversal buy signal. MeJT points higher. Most of the time the support holds. If this were a bull market, I think this would be worth playing overnight, even though I don't usually do that. Most of the time support holds. Futures are down as I write this. This is really an ideal situation for a gap over today's high, but it's hard to act on it because if it fails, the downside's quite big. Just remember, if this doesn't happen, you're going to know before the market opens. Longer term, the market breadth didn't improve despite today's advance. Action of these stocks, these wild moves, they're seen only at market tops. So I'm quite confident we're in the area of a top, and the downside potential is quite big. Anyone who wants to risk going long over this high has to bear in mind not just the reward, but also the risk. The risk here is unusually high. Anyway, tomorrow has the early high. As always, if we get down smartly, the call's killed before the open. But anyone who is short, I think if you hold on long enough, you'll make a lot of money. But there's a chance we're going to be gapping over this high tomorrow. And that's today's call.